Computers are live, mixers up, levels are good, equalizers good, ready channels 1 and 2. Mic is live in 3, 2, 1, roll it. Welcome, listeners, to the My Practice, My Business podcast, where we teach dentists and their teams how to reclaim forgotten profitability in dentistry with our clinical business of dentistry training. And now, the host of our show, the clinical director at My Practice, My Business, Dr. Rob Thorup.
Welcome, podcast listeners. It's Dr. Rob with My Practice, My Business. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Whitney Larson, and she's a registered dental hygienist, and she now currently runs the front office at Gentle Dental Arts with Dr. Alex Larson. Whitney, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. Thanks, Dr. Rob. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thanks for being here. So tell us about your journey in your office. Tell us about where you started out and now what you're doing now.
All right. So I actually started out as Dr. Larson's dental assistant about 18 years ago, and did that for 2 to 3 years while I was in dental hygiene school, and then became his dental hygienist and fulfilled that role for the next 15 years. And then the past 2 months, I've been his office manager.
That's awesome. So, how long ago, you guys are actually clients of ours at My Practice, My Business. How long ago did you guys go through the training at MPMB with us? I was actually trying to remember earlier today, and without being able to look, I couldn't remember when you guys started. Do you recall when you started?
I believe it was at the end of June, so 2018. So almost a year.
Almost a whole year. Oh my gosh, time flies like crazy. And what were your thoughts when you were going through the training? What were your thoughts when you first went through the training? Tell me how you really felt when you were going through the training.
So when I went through the training, I was I was the office dental hygienist, and my thoughts were on how I was going to implement the recommendations on periodontal treatment. It was a whole new way to treat periodontal disease. And so I think mostly my thoughts were geared toward how will I implement this into my office, and how will my patients respond to it? All the while also thinking and listening to the presentation on offering patients choices in their dental care. So I wish I could go back, honestly, and listen to it again, and in the position of an office manager, and have it through those glasses.
Oh,
so it's a little different.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a little different view. So, of course, Whitney, I want you to know that brings up a whole nother topic. As one of our clients, you are always welcome to come through any of our trainings at any time as a refresher, and to
great.
Get some help. Of course, I know you call Tracy from time to time, and our team is always there to help you guys out. Have you called her a couple times to ask for advice?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Absolutely.
Good.
And she's been amazing. Very responsive, and
Tracy's my wife
tremendously.
She's helped tremendously. Tracy's my wife. You would think that we talk about, we shop talk, but when we get home, it's gardening and bees and chickens and our next backpacking trip. And it's kind of funny. I'm just laughing when I ask you that question. So has it been helpful in what ways has it been helpful to contact her about this new role, going from a dental hygienist position to running the office? What kind of things are you faced with that, you give her a call, talk to her about? Give me like an example.
Well, the one I was desperate. There was one desperate example. I was confronted for the first time with a patient who was trying to understand the anesthesia code and why his insurance wasn't covering it, and his insurance company was giving him the information that it should be included in his treatment. And so he was confused, and thankfully, had been through the training, but thankfully I had access to Tracy, who could give me the verbiage that I needed to properly explain to the patient. And then eventually I had to explain it to the dental insurance on why we separate this code out. I guess give them an education, right?
I give the insurance company an education. That's fantastic. Let me just hold you there for just a minute because, and I want our listeners to know that I really don't script these calls, and I never know what's going to be talked about, and there's not a lot of cutting and splicing that takes place. So I want to back up for a minute. Many of you guys may not have been practicing long enough to know what took place in the ADA and with a group of dentists on the East Coast. And bless their hearts for going to bat with us. If you read the CDT codebook, at the beginning of each section, it says dental anesthesia is usually included in the procedure. Okay. And the key word is usually. And the group of docs that pushed back against the ADA was going to do away with that code because of pressure from insurance companies. And they were going to have it be that dental anesthesia was always included. Well, I mean, that's never the case when you go to the medical side. Whenever they give anesthetic, they charge for it. I'm an old EMT intermediate and worked for years in EMS. Oh my goodness. I would work the ER from time to time and all those charges were always charged out. And so this group of dentists, they pushed back and they said, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. So the ADA, to appease that group that pushed back and threatened to sue, said, okay, we'll put the word usually. We'll put the word usually. That way there leaves an out for it. But Whitney, there's a CDT code for it, isn't there, for all kinds of different types of anesthesia, right? There's local, there's regional block. And off the top of my head, I can't remember. It seemed like there's one more, but I can't remember what it is. Do you remember what it is? Because we only use those two. I think you guys
I'm familiar with those two.
Yeah. So regional block is the one that we use all the time. And here's what's funny is out here in Utah, we take a bazillion PPO plans and we are the insurance capital next to Louisiana out here. And we've got, and Nevada, I think too, is like sneaking up there. We used to be the number one in taking PPOs, but now we've got competition out there with other states. It's getting harder, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that code is in there. And then when you look on your contracted codes with insurance companies, you see that code, don't you? And you see a lot of them, and there's a fee attached to it also. So now tell me the story that happened with the insurance company. This is great.
Well, so they were, I had to talk to the patient and then call the insurance company and let them know that it has its own code. And because it has its own code, that we bill them separately and that it's illegal for insurance companies to tell us, I believe, that we need to combine, because that's combining codes. And I think that part is what's illegal. Am I correct? To combine codes
the ADA actually, for the ADA Centers for Success, actually put out on page 17, they literally call out the insurance companies and say the combining of codes or the bundling of codes is potentially fraudulent, right?
Right.
And so that's what the ADA says. So what was the insurance company? What was their argument?
Well, they said it should have been included, but I think when we were able to point out that it had its own code and that the ADA says it's fraudulent to do what they were recommending, which was bundling of codes, they backed off right away and said, oh, okay. And then what's funny is Tracy said for me to tell them to call the patient and to apologize.
And did
the insurance company? Well, I don't think she understood, but I don't think she understood it well enough to maybe explain it to the patient. So I called, and I have a relationship with this patient anyway. So I was able to call and explain to the patient again, why we separate them and why insurance can't recommend that we bundle those, and everybody understood it. So I think just having those tools and knowing it myself, it helped us to stand up for ourselves, and the patient paid for their anesthesia, which they had. for their
I
treatment.
love the phrase standing up for yourself. That is like so powerful because if we don't push back against insurance companies, who will? The patient?
Right.
No. We do that on
No.
their behalf, but we also, anesthetic costs us money. I mean, there's some really cool, excuse me, there's some really cool anesthetics out there right now that, prevent us from needing to, administer opioids. For example, Exparel is one that we're on the verge of getting ready to talk about. And some great clients of ours that are oral surgeons, Dr. Stosich up in Murray, Utah. He taught us about Exparel, and that's actually in my dental docs now. And you apply Exparel, and that whole site will stay numb for like up to 72 hours. And once you get the patient over that hump of like wisdom teeth, excuse me, I'll tell you here in a second, but once you get them over that hump of wisdom teeth extraction, the pain, the swelling, and you get the swelling to come down, then they're pain free. And so you only need to have like, Motrin for sure. But that drug is super expensive to use per site. And so when you have that differential in cost of goods, it's tough. And, yesterday, on Thursday, I lectured at the Utah Dental Association convention on the clinical business of dentistry. And so I'm like, my throat is just a little bit dry. So please forgive me, podcast listeners and Whitney, if I'm like choking here a little bit, but I'll live. I think I might make it through it. So what's your experience in the last year since you guys went through training? What has been your experience in what you've learned in learning how to upgrade? Being able to listen to insurance company recordings about the ability to upgrade, and the patient's reactions when you give them choice and let it be their choice to choose between a better product or a baseline product. And we would never put anything inferior in our patient's mouths, right? We'd only, but giving the patient the choice and then charging them accordingly for that choice, like for a better crown, better, implant, whatever it might be. What has been your experience in doing that?
It's been very easy to implement into our office. And frankly, it's saved us. We were really struggling. And I think our struggle was because our reimbursement rates from insurances were so low. And I think, Dr. Larson had been in practice for 30 years, and I think he just felt very desperate. How do I possibly work hard enough? I get enough patients in to make up the difference with how much we were not being reimbursed with dental insurances.
Let me stop you right there. I want you to keep going, but in my presentation at the UDA convention, we talked about profit margins, and everybody thinks and insurance reimbursements have actually gone down. They haven't gone up over the last 8 to 10 years. And everybody thinks, gosh, if I can just get more patients in, if I can just work harder, I can make more money. But if your profit margins are hovering, 7 to 12%, it doesn't matter how hard you work. You only have, you have a carrying capacity, right? So what we teach is how to ways that are ethical, legal, and moral ways that insurance companies have actually taught us how to do it. That's what everybody was shocked about when I actually played audio and video recordings of our conversations with the insurance carriers. They were shocked. They had no idea that we don't have to pay for our patient's dentistry. Where there's a differential in cost of goods, we can actually place a markup on it and charge the patient for that better product and actually put a profit margin on it. And so when you say Dr. Larson was like, things were tightening down and profits were going away. That's what every practice is experiencing to medium degrees to large degrees, nobody to small degrees. That's what we've learned. So keep going. Sorry, Whitney. I was so exciting to hear you say that. Keep going. Yeah,
no, please. That's fine. So we were feeling desperate and had been feeling desperate for years, honestly. And it was sad because Dr. Larson is very good at what he does, has over 30 years experience, and he should be at the point in his career where he gets to kind of cruise and just enjoy this. He's, I think, 67 years old, enjoy these last phases. And it was really stressful and really wearing on his health and his mental happiness, because it wasn't the dentistry that he remembers when he first started out. So when we found you, Dr. Rob, and we have tried lots of different things, but this was the one thing that made the most sense. And we've seen the numbers and the improvements right away. So it's been fun to be part of that. And honestly, our patients, I think, enjoy the option to choose for themselves. And they seem to understand when I present a treatment plan and I let them know that the insurance will, how I phrase it is, insurance will reimburse us, but at a certain quality of material. But we want you to know that they, right? I mean, and I think they understand that it's their insurance that's doing this, and it's their insurance reimbursement. And so there's this quality of material that your insurance is reimbursing us at. But we know that we have much better options, and I just let them know that we like to offer that to our patients and that they have a choice. And
shouldn't it be the patient's choice? I mean, really?
Yes. Finally. I think so often with insurance, it's so strange that we've got the patient, we've got the doctor, and we've got this third party that's interfering with these medical choices, these medical decisions that I don't think they should have any business being in the conversation, but they're the main part of the conversation. Oftentimes is what will my insurance let me do? And so it's fun that we get to have a conversation about what the patient wants without being dictated to by insurance companies, telling us what they're allowed to have.
You know, Whitney, in every MBA program. Oh, what's that? Say again.
I just said they are. I haven't had any patient that didn't understand why we were offering a better quality material and didn't appreciate that. And they don't always choose it, but I think they're grateful to know that they have that option.
What do you think your percentage of case acceptance is on patients choosing the better material? What do you think that is?
It seems high. I know, I want to say 75%. I know there are numbers and things, but it seems a lot of people seem to be compliant with it and want that. The only time oftentimes it's when they're children and there's that upgraded material for filling materials. Parents know that these are baby teeth and that they're going to be coming out. So that in those places, it's not oftentimes chosen to go with an upgraded material. But
we find the same thing in our office too. Yeah, when it comes to pediatric teeth, that we split the baseline composite in most all the time. And that's the same thing that we find. It's interesting. In all the MBA programs out there in the universities, they always teach that choice promotes trust. And you, in your conversation with me just now, just verified that. You're seeing that your patients appreciate it. They trust you more. They love the ability to have that choice. And that's what I'm hearing you say. I love it. So,
and I don't know, Dr. Rob, if we've discussed this before, but there is an office that had a previous dentist that we know of. And they were using My Practice, My Business. And then this new dentist was brought in, and I believe the older dentist sold out. And we've been talking to this new dentist whom we're closely, connected to, and we've been recommending My Practice, My Business. And what's funny is he has said to us, our dental office used to do this. And what's funny, he doesn't understand why they stopped doing it, but he has patients that are still asking, well, don't I have a choice?
Oh my
and he was sort of confused by that, right?
Wow.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah.
And they're asking some of them if they have a choice in which material. So they like it.
This is what happens when there's a changeover. This is why we have refresher courses at MPMB. And you know what? I blame myself, Whitney. I I know who that office is, and we have been so busy in our business that we have, we failed you guys. We have not contacted that office, and you guys gave us that name like about 3 months ago. So shame on me. I'm going to go after him. I'm going to get hold of that doctor, and I'm going to talk to him. But I did not know that story. I just knew that they were.
But that's what's cool about it, right? Yeah, that's what's so cool. And it honestly helps me as we continue to offer it to our patients, that it confirms this is what patients like. And that if we were to take it back, they would then ask, well, don't I have a choice? And they want that choice.
What's interesting is at the UDA convention, again, during my presentation, I had there was a couple labs represented there, and one of the labs, I know the master tech, and they're talking about, really nice crowns, high-end crowns, and so many offices, because they think they're constrained by insurance companies, they're just ordering the cheapest crown possible. And their patients aren't super happy with the look of those inexpensive crowns, right? So they're having us in the state of Washington next March. We're going to be doing our presentation to hundreds of lab owners and dentists from all over the state, helping them understand these protocols. Now, I know that Delta Dental of Washington, they were kind of trying to push back, saying that you couldn't even offer choice. And I'm like, that's kind of, now you're coming between the doctor-patient relationship. That's practicing dentistry without a license. You can't do that. And they said, yeah, but in our contract, it says that you can't offer value-added service. And I was looking at I had the rules and regs right in front of me. And I said, well, actually in section 2, paragraph 11, it states that I can. Are you familiar with that? And the main manager of Delta out there, she's like, no, I'm not familiar with that. That's their own rules and regs. I'm going, oh my gosh. And what's funny is we can call the insurance companies and get almost all the time we get the same answer. Yes, you can upgrade. But once in a while you'll get somebody that'll try to put their foot down and say, no, you can't offer value-added service. It's like, well, then who pays for it? I said, well, so if the CEO of Boeing comes into my office and I tell that person that, I'm sorry, you can't have the really nice crown by Gary at his dental lab. I said, it's like, you have to have a chiclet. And, that CEO would drop Delta Dental so fast and go with MetLife or any of the other ones that are out there. And she was like, yeah, okay, well, we can't tell you can't, but make sure they do sign consent and they know what they're getting, which is actually right here in section 2, paragraph 11. So it's so funny. and then you're, so the insurance companies say you can, the patients want it. The patients will almost always choose a better option when they're given that choice, right? It's crazy.
Right.
So how much increased revenue on an average per month have you even looked at those totals over the last year? How much you guys have increased per month since we trained you?
Here and there, I know I've heard figures like $10,000, and this last month, now that I'm in this role, I will definitely pay attention. This last month was around $12,000 increase.
$12,000 increased over the counter collection, pretty much, right? Isn't that crazy?
Right. It's awesome.
And I know you guys, and what's fun is I know you guys are like, everything that we trained you on, is everything implemented? Everything?
No, we can do so much more. Yeah. And I was going to add that. I know we could do better. Mm-hmm.
You know what's fun? Whitney, this makes my day though, because I've been doing this since 1991. So when we do this training, we have the majority of the offices will ramp up to about 50% of what we train. And then they're making an extra 120 to 200,000 a year, and they're so happy that they forget about all the rest of the things they can be doing. And that's actually that's what the kind of feedback we've received. So you kind of see the same thing in your practice too? For
sure. Yes. And I think we will get there and continue to add more. But there's so much, really, there's so much we could add in. And that's great. It's great news because we can continue to do better and improve and offer more options for our patients, which improves their overall health and apparently helps them to feel better and more trusting of us, which is a win-win situation.
That's exciting. Are you enjoying your position? Do you like running the office?
Yeah, it's been interesting. It's been a challenge. We were definitely, we're kind of digging ourselves out of some issues that we had previous. So, yes, it's been a little bit of a challenge, but it's been really rewarding. Last month, we hit a collections number that Dr. Larson has never in the history of the practice collected. And that felt really good to be part of that.
It's fun, Whitney, because we attribute that success, predominantly to you. And as nice. We watch, because we don't let our practices, we keep an eye on our practices. We don't just train you and let you go away, do we? We still stay with you. We help you continually implement. And that's where a lot of consulting companies, they kind of drop the ball on that. And the other crazy thing is when you guys went through the training, we guaranteed your return on investment. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that part, but I believe it. I can see how you could do that.
I just wonder if Dr. Larson shared that with you. When you guys first signed up for training, I told the doc, I said, we are one of the few companies that guarantees your return on investment or your money back. And that's, we live by that. But the fact that you told me you guys are averaging $10,000+ a month, that says it all.
Yeah.
Because the offices with what they pay in the monthly payment, you're like, 4 to 5 timesing what the monthly payment would be on that. And that just makes my day. It makes my day. And the fact that that you have more room to grow, that's exciting. What I think is exciting, Whitney, is the fact that you're a hygienist, which means I have a podcast out there called The Dichotomy of Dentistry. And it goes like this. The dentist was trained for 8+ years. The hygienist is trained for 4 years. Formal education. Assistants will go through assisting school sometimes, and they'll get about a year of formal training. And then we throw the office manager in there, and they were trained by somebody who was trained by somebody who was trained by the Sunday school teacher in their local church. There's no
right.
It's like
so
we
true.
throw them into these positions with no training.
Yes.
And here you are, you go in and your focus is hygiene and you get put into there, but that hygiene degree had to help out a little bit. Am I right?
I think so. And really what I think has helped is sort of the personality.
Of the hygienist going in there. Yeah.
I kind of think so. A hygienist personality is definitely, they're kind of perfectionistic and they like guidelines and they like to be very detail oriented. And I think that I do think these qualities or these characteristics that are naturally in a type of person who would be interested in dental hygiene might do well as an office manager.
You got to be, sick and demented and very detailed in that sickness to want to go and clean
almost to
out of teeth all the time, right? It's like
right, yeah, absolutely. We've got some quirks for sure. We kind of all rub each other the wrong way. Even it's just too perfectionistic and OCD and all those things. But these are the types of qualities that you want in an office manager. Because we really don't want to mess up and we want to, and it's a numbers game. And, it seemed to fit very naturally. Honestly, it seemed to, and it's been enjoyable. So and after 15 years of dental hygiene, it's been nice to switch and be thinking this other way. So I think it's felt natural.
What a great asset you are to, Dr. Larson, and to be able to.
Thank you.
Have that perspective from all directions. That's exciting.
Okay.
One more question for you, and then we'll wrap it up. Would you recommend My Practice, My Business to other dentists and their teams out there? You don't have to answer. Be honest.
Okay. Well, I couldn't recommend you guys more. Dr. Rob, you and Tracy have been instrumental in helping us to churn what was a very desperate and stressful situation in our dental practice. We were providing great quality of care our schedule was full. Those things didn't change. It was just offering more and then being reimbursed better for the great quality of care that we provide for our patients. We were already putting in high quality material into patients' mouths, but we weren't being paid for those. And so it's been great to be able to just be paid for the high quality of care that we paid appropriately for the high quality of care and the high quality materials that we were already putting into our patients' mouths. And then having them to appreciate it more, I think, knowing that it is the highest quality when they choose that. Or understanding it's, the baseline qualities. It's, we wouldn't put anything bad in their mouth, but, if something goes wrong, then they kind of think, well, I guess it's probably that lower, that baseline quality that the insurance allows us to have in my mouth. So yes, it has been a game changer for our office. Dr. Larson can sleep at night. I think it's taken years off of him, and we're all feeling much more confident and happy in our jobs, honestly.
Well, you guys in practices just like you are the reason why Tracy and I do what we do, and I have to give credit too. You only see Tracy and I on the front line, and we certainly have we have a couple other partners and people in the practice, Dave and Michael, and another Michael, and a Darcy, and a Danny that have all helped tremendously in our company. But I'll give Tracy all the credit. She does the majority of the work, and I'm grateful that she's part of my team in many ways, both personally and in the business. It's not every day that you get to work with your wife and still stay, together. So it's really fun for us to have that ability. Well,
good.
Whitney,
and
thank you so much for
you're changing.
Thank you so much for being with us, and it's fun to. God, that just makes my day that Dr. Larson is that the stress is gone. And that's what we're all about. And thanks to Patterson Dental for letting us know about you guys and to give you a hand. What a great team they've been in truly helping their practices succeed. And we enjoy working with them as we do many other companies. Thanks so much. And I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll look forward to seeing you maybe up at the training facility for a refresher.
Absolutely.
Or
for sure.
Sometime like that. Hey, have a great day.
Definitely.
Thanks so much, Whitney.
Thanks, Dr. Rob. We'll see ya. Bye.
See you. Bye. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for tuning into the My Practice, My Business podcast. You can find additional podcasts you may have missed that will help you with your dental practice at Apple iTunes Podcasts. And remember to become a subscriber to our podcast. Many of you have asked how to help support the My Practice, My Business podcast. If you have enjoyed the program and information you received today, the best way to help is to leave us a 5-star review. Thanks again for allowing us to be a part of your day.